Welcome to Tone Talks. Welcome to Tone Talks. Welcome to Tone Talks.
How's everybody doing today? This is Attorney Antonio Moore coming to you from Tone Talks. I'm here to have a discussion about Diddy and Revolt, about some of the things I've heard on the internet, everything from 50 Cent being a genius, from Charlemagne around trying to buy Revolt backhandedly to, or that's what Charlemagne insinuated to me, to this whole thing about insurance and Revolt. I don't even know. I don't know where the expertise comes from that I've seen that coming up. All I know is there's just a lot of talk. So as we get going, let me frame something. There's a specific kind of social language that you're going to have to step back and ask yourself whether you have. Do you look at the outside of things to measure whether a thing is? And I think a lot of Black Americans do. So what am I saying? Be more specific. So you say, let's get a farm, but you don't talk about what a farm business actually is, which is the contracts, the subsidies, the guaranteed loans. That's the business, and that comes out of politics. So you just want the land and the fruit on top. But the farm business is the guaranteed eggs from Cargill to McDonald's before they're even made, or the subsidy where the government pays you not to grow. That's the farm. So that actually will play a role in terms of your understanding of Revolt as a station, when I think it's more like a Flintstone car. No engine, no muffler, no doors. But you do that in terms of family as well too often. That's how we survive. So basically, you think family is about the running around on holidays, and don't get me wrong, that's nice. Presence is important. But in America, it's about life insurance and health insurance and 529 college savings plans and a house with equity. And it's about the components. But because almost none of working age Black Americans have those components in the number they should have at 40 and 50 years old, we just redefine family. Well, we can't do that in terms of farms. We can't do that in terms of channels. See this banana? What I'm saying is you're going to have to accept that you don't eat the peel. It's the fruit inside that makes the banana. Now, I don't know if you got a recipe where you eat the peel, but I'm talking about the actual banana that's inside. That's the show today. So you have to accept that first to have this discussion. I want to talk today. I got people all across this country here to have this discussion. And I want to let them fall in because I don't want anybody to miss this opening, because that opening is important for the close. So you have Sean Combs, and he is presented in Black America as this owner of this channel, but I believe it's more Flintstone car than actual car. I'll explain what I mean in a second, but we're going to delve into how he got the channel. We're going to delve into 50 Cent and this genius statement. We're going to delve into so many different components of this genius statement by Charlemagne around the 48 laws of power or some old nonsense. But we're going to delve into the context of wealth itself and what wealth is. It's the inside. It ain't the outside. So I put this tweet up, and it has like 70,000 views or something of the sort. So it's getting shared, but I think people are a bit confused. So that's the point of this show, to clear up the confusion. This clip is ignorance. And I'm talking about this clip by Charlemagne where he talks about 48 laws of power. He brings up 50 Cent's tweet, which I'll bring up in a second, and how 50 Cent points to the advertisers to get people to complain about the advertisers. So I guess insinuating, in my view, that so 50 Cent can buy low. This clip is ignorance. If this is 50 Cent's line of thinking against Diddy, as Charlemagne the God proposes, this is more destructive than anything near genius. So this channel comes out of basically, supposedly, an answer to Black politics. We'll talk about whether I view it as a channel or not in a second. And what Diddy got to do is get a personal gain. And now 51 steps in his place, and that's supposed to be genius. And y'all don't understand this, don't make no sense. And to call it genius goes back to what I pointed out about Charlemagne having very limited education. Again, he's a high school dropout, self-admitted, and he got his GED, but it only required 1 unit of U.S. history. That's his self-admission. You can go look it up. There is something there when you don't understand what we talking about. Just awful nonsense birthed of awful lines of thinking. Let me explain. Revolt was a creation to curb the demand for blacks demanding to have real media ownership. It's the answer to Byron Allen, who owns the Weather Channel. I've talked to Byron Allen. So it came out of the milquetoast Memorandum of Understanding Al Sharpton signed when there were demands for true black ownership in media. It was never real. The channel was a Flintstone card to avoid giving black folks a real reparative answer. Hence why it was full of video reruns and shows like The Breakfast Club. And I know because I know. So I want to have this discussion today. I want to get into it, but we got to understand. God damn it. Ain't got no engine. We running by feet power. It don't got no doors. You just outside, rain, sleet, or snow. And it don't got no muffler or no roof. What do it got that a car got? Oh, this long wheel of cement. I need you guys to understand where this discussion is going because I don't want no Flintstone car. We having this discussion today. I'm going to leave this up on the screen for a second and let y'all just digest it. Let y'all digest it. Because we got people coming in all across this country. Oh, Lord. Let me look at this steering wheel. Let me look at I got one wheel. I don't got four. I got two wheels. One big long one in the front. One big long one in the back. Hard seats. How far are we going to go in this damn Flintstone car? And it don't got no engine. We just put our feet on the ground and we run fast. But we going to sell the Flintstone car as this Ferrari or Lamborghini that they in. We going to sell it to Black America as a full car. We're going to get dressed up in our leather coats and our white t-shirts and put it in a music video. And we're going to tell Black America, get in the back seat. I'm going to take you where you got to go. But it's a Flintstone car. But we don't know the difference because we don't know the difference about none of this stuff. Huh. God damn it. That don't look the same. That don't look the same. I'm going to get real specific today. Let me get on into it. 310-388-3499. I'll try to get to you. Subscribe, donate, and share. Let's get this discussion going because I don't know what y'all think, but I'm about to show you how Revolt is more Flintstone car than car at all. And I'm going to show you how 50 Cent ain't no genius. He's just another guy. It's all three-card Monty out here. We move the ball. We put the ball. We move the ball. We put the ball. We move the ball. And because y'all have been so propagandized, you don't know the difference between this and this. But I'm going to give you all the pieces you can lay out. And you need to understand, it might make you feel bad at the end because you're going to understand you don't have nothing. Because what they did is they made it so we don't have no politics. And the moment me and Yvette tried to do politics, they did papers on us. Oh, hold on. And all kind of attacks. To look at Diddy, you have to go back to Ciroc. Now, you go back to Bad Boy as well, and the deals with the artists and everything else, but you go back to Ciroc and the questions because it was presented in the imagery of ownership. But people were so confused because that's the way it was presented, with him holding it and being but he was just a brand marketer. As I'm sitting here watching TV2, Meek Mill House Party, I notice every video I see has something to do with Ciroc. Everybody in hip-hop is scheming and grinning, drinking Ciroc. Ciroc was first introduced in USA in 2003. I always assumed Diddy was the owner. But what we found out is the real 100% owner of Ciroc was Diageo. They had a 3-year deal for Diddy to do brand marketing. They extended that deal, but all he was a brand marketer. So what we're dealing with is a man who already has shown us this is his model. We have the Cassie things that we've already discussed with the sexual assault. So he steps down very quickly from Revolt, this thing that he supposedly owns, purportedly. We never seen no document that say he owned it. We really got to look at it in more detail, which we'll do in a second. But he stepped down really fast to have owned it and for there to be an accusation civilly, not even criminally, from his own stuff that he owns. Can we talk? But what you guys didn't understand is if you dug into it, it's unclear whether he temporarily is stepping down or whether he's stepping down. And that makes you question this whole insurance thing that people have just randomly brought up as if they're inside of some specific knowledge and then breaking an NDA versus just bantering. And I'm looking at Diddy as a way, in my view, for white America to make Black America feel included versus be included. A caricature they created that allows Black America to avoid its own politics and create an identity that's more banana peel than banana. I want to talk my stuff today. Can I talk? But you don't have to take my word for it. You can take his. So while Byron was suing the Supreme Court, Sean Combs slams illusion of inclusion at Comcast amid Byron Allen fight. Byron Allen being the man that owns the Weather Channel I discussed earlier. I've interviewed him. You can go check that out on my channel. Just Google it. Sean Combs has come out swinging against Comcast in a lengthy statement prompted by the cable giant's legal battle with Entertainment Studios chief Byron Allen. Combs accused Comcast of maintaining the illusion of economic inclusion in its handling of a carriage agreement with Combs' Revolt TV channel. Combs was critical of Comcast for failing to distribute the hip-hop music and lifestyle channel broadly across all of its cable systems. The statement came in response to the Supreme Court hearing held November 13th on matters related to Allen's 2015 racial discrimination lawsuit against Comcast. Allen has accused Comcast of violating civil rights law by declining to carry the suite of 7 niche cable owned by channels owned by Entertainment Studios. I'm not here to protect, to defend, to necessarily talk about Byron, even though his case will come up later on. I'm here to deal with this part. These are words of Sean Combs Diddy that to me show me this is a damn Flintstone card. So what Diddy said is this. The start we received from Comcast, which was a condition of the United States government approval for Comcast to acquire NBC Universal. I'm going to show you the Memorandum of Understanding Sharpton and the NAACP leader at the time signed. I think Ben Jealous was his name. And it didn't offer much of anything. Internships and a boot camp and a panel. And Diddy and Magic got channels. Thank you. That's all we giving y'all. To get acquire NBC Universal. But it is not the level of support needed to build a successful African-American owned network. Not even close, Combs said. Since that launch, our relationship has not grown, and Revolt is still not carried by Comcast in the most affordable packages, nor is Revolt available in all the markets that would enable us to serve our target audience. Comcast spends billions a year on content networks every year, but just a few million go to African-American owned networks, which means they're not networks, in my view. Now, since then, they gave him some kind of additional deal to calm the storm, but this Flintstone card to me, that's all it is. Diddy, they said, Diddy, here go a channel. He don't know what a channel is. He was running that little bad boy, a little small thing, and then he went out there to kick the tire, and the whole goddamn channel fell apart. Beep! All the pieces came off. God damn it. They done gave me one of these. No engine, no doors, no muffler, no roof. They done showed him one of these. Lord. Kicked it. 50 come in and he said that I step in if you got the assault issues. And Charlemagne paints that as genius in my view. And I don't see no genius in it. 50 Cent offers to buy Revolt after Diddy sexual assault lawsuit. I'll give you a few dollars. As Sean Diddy Combs continues to damage control amid his ongoing legal trial, 50 Cent is offering his fellow rapper a lifeline, but not without taking a few shots at him in the process. So this is what we doing. So this is what we're gonna use this moment for in this channel, which is not really when I show you Diddy's channel, it's really a channel that should have almost went to Black America, like all the money should have went to Black orcs, because he didn't get it out the mud. They gave it to him to quiet politics. I'll buy that from you, Playboy, for the low, because you know Cadillac and AT&T gonna pull out. I'll give you a few dollars for it now, sell it to me, then we can be friends. I'm serious, call my phone. What Charlamagne insinuated is this was a signal by 50 to get Black folks in particular, I believe, but folks to call these advertisers and stand against this guy who has a channel that came out of our politics. Come on now. And this is who you got talking to Hillary Clinton for us, Charlamagne, that came up with that line of thinking. I want to talk today. 310-388-3499 if you want to call in. You might not, because there's a lot to get through. I'm here to say 50 ain't no genius to me. He can be Charlamagne's genius. I'm here also to say that Diddy's Flintstone card channel needs to be digested as that. But I'm here also to make clear, hold up, you don't know me, bro. So you have like Black men running around here, fizzling apart, making up worlds. You don't know me. So what they do is they create compartments. Well, you must be smart as books. So then you not street like. Bro, I didn't grow up in no small town in Tennessee or something like that, or South Carolina or nothing like that. When I go outside, Bloods is outside. I'm going to say this to you one time. It's a lot of out-of-towners in LA that make it seem like they was here. They grew up here in the heart of Los Angeles, in South Central. They did not. Y'all need to figure that out on YouTube and in your life. What I'm also going to say is people in hoods all across the nation. This ain't the only hood. But don't tell me nothing about you, because I don't know you and you don't know me. But what I will say is a lot of y'all are video game boys. You done grew up with your grandma with the washing machine in the house. And I mean the washing machine in the house. That means there ain't no laundromat. That means your grandmama was a good grandmama with the electricity on all the time and trying to talk to me. So you take this tweet, you read it how you want to, and we're going to carry on. Out here watching all these goddamn paid in full movies, pretending like you street. Your favorite Juice and Boys in the Hood and Menace that defines your youth. Better go on back inside. Let's get back to the show. So what I see is I'm looking at this discussion and see the God sitting up there with this white man, damn near sitting Indian style. Let me talk. Look at this shit. I ain't talking to no motherfucker to sit like that next to me. So he's sitting there. This man sitting damn near Indian style or some kind of what the fuck crisscross, bantering about 50 Cent and Diddy possibly undermining each other to take hold of Revolt station, giving out that, in my opinion, undermine Black media ownership for the next 50 years. So basically, Black folks were locked out of production in this country. One of the things we were locked out of also was media distribution. So in that push, Byron funded his own case to fight a civil rights, and we'll get into a civil rights claim case. And what it made it extremely difficult to bring that claim is they could point to these channels that Magic done had and Diddy, as we not racist. But then we don't know how much they own of the channel, either one of them. And we also don't know if they even control the damn channels. Nor where's the damn channel at? Because it's a Flintstone card. Where is the channel, the real channel, the carriage fees, the programming, the catalog? Or is it just a bunch of free videos people submit? It's a goddamn Revolt YouTube. Y'all see this, man? I ain't talking to nobody sitting like this. You got to sit up. So again, you don't have to take my word for it. The business is P. Diddy's free content model for Revolt TV bad business, ? With all the buzz around Sean Diddy Combs' recently launched Revolt TV, the new company which pegs itself as P. Diddy's first multi-platform TV network, I've had a slew of people ask me if they think the creation and launch of Revolt is good or bad for would-be contributors to the platform via Revolt's crowdsourced model. God damn it. So what I'm talking about is the inside of the channel, is the catalog, the things that allow you to put original content and content that your studio owns on this channel. Well, if you don't have no, and we'll get into carriage fees in a second. You can't get no loans if you don't have no catalog. You don't really got much of nothing. Now they ain't putting you in certain cities as well. So what is this? Anyone can currently apply to be part of the Revolt TV movement as a producer or on-air talent, reporter, curator, social media personality, graphic artist, or videographer. This is an older article from OK Player. I'm just reading it word for word. However, upon submitting your application to Revolt TV, the Revolt TV terms indicate, among other things, that you will also grant Revolt cost-free, royalty-free rights to your work. So basically, is this just another mace? Is this just another mace? The non-exclusive, unrestricted, unconditional, unlimited, worldwide, irrevocable, perpetual, and cost-free right and license to use, copy, record, distribute. So that's how you're going to make content. God damn it. This is a Flintstone car. So you got the Flintstone car, and it ain't got no engine. It ain't got no catalog. We don't know if it has even carriage fees. I'll explain that. I know I've said it twice. Those are things that you use to actually build your content. So you're going to use other people's feet to make the car go. Now, the other thing that is interesting as you read the words is how little ownership comes up. It's always backed, founded. Comcast to launch networks. This is an older article from 2012, I believe in the Hollywood Reporter, backed by Sean Combs, Magic Johnson, and Robert Rodriguez. So a Latino guy slid in there too. It's really an answer to the long-lasting demands by blacks, but because we use minorities, then he slid in too. But more than that, it says backed. Johnson's Aspire, a partnership with GMC TV. I want you to put a peg in that. That is set to launch this summer, will deliver enlightening, entertaining, and positive programming to African-American families. According to Comcast, its programs will run the gamut. Combs will partner with MTV veteran Andy Shuon on Revolt, which will showcase music and pop culture programming, including music videos, live performances, news, and interviews with a robust social media component. We gonna build out a damn Flintstone car with no engine, no doors, and tell people we going to Vegas in this. So you know it ain't got no goddamn air conditioning. Air conditioning is outside. I'm here to talk today to explain the ignorance of this whole thing, because maybe it isn't clear. Me and Yvette were covering this back in 2016 when nobody wanted to talk about it. I have to ask the question, if we've seen it with Ciroc, is Diddy the Lady Eloise of Revolt? Lady Eloise is from Boomerang. Marcus thought that she owned the damn makeup brand. He done went and had sex with her to move up. He found out that she is just the face. I think she was on the board too. She is the face, but she don't control nothing. Is Diddy the Lady Eloise of goddamn Revolt? Somebody asked for it, so I'm going to do it. I'm sorry. There you go. That's how Diddy came out with his little Lady Eloise jacket. He came out with his little Lady Eloise jacket, kicked it down, and the whole fell apart that Comcast gave him. Figuratively. Can I get to it today? 310-388-3499. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Tom, am I coming in clear?
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Go ahead.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
Now, what's your name? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Oh, Sam. I'm calling out of New Jersey.
Go ahead.
All right. So out of all this, out of basically the three black men that you mentioned, Charlemagne, 50 Cent, Dick. My question would be like, who's more responsible for this? I mean, is it those three individuals?
Oh, it's Diddy. It's Diddy. I don't know what he knows. I just know that when the demand was made, somehow these two black men in Magic and Diddy were given these channels, and they should have never been offered to them as an answer for reparative justice for a whole race of like 40 million people. And then those channels were then able to be used to basically gut political demands in litigation. Like that's what I was trying to explain to y'all. I wasn't guessing, and I wasn't understand. I know Byron. I'm not saying that I'm coming from his words. These are my words and my opinions. But I'm saying to you, like, you're not dealing with someone who doesn't know him. And I'm just saying to you that we as black folks, like literally, we'll get into it in the show. And maybe I got to show this just to give context, because a lot of people are new to this channel right now. Me and Yvette are not for games. We put about 700 people on the Supreme Court steps when this was heard at the Supreme Court. 700 people. So I'm saying to you that this comes back to Diddy. This show is more just explaining, because a lot of y'all don't know. There should be a lot of questions. How much do you own of this channel? You owe that to us because you got the channel through us. You didn't get it out the mud. In addition, why do you have this channel? And there's just so many different questions. But go ahead.
Right. So I mean, yeah, definitely, because it's responsibility can go both ways. But I mean, so should he have turned this off down?
Yes.
And ask White Capital to finance, you know, basically what you said, more like grassroots organization. Or
No. See, that's back to the. I'm sorry for cutting you off. That's back to the same place. No, he should have turned it down and still with Byron, and then basically made them answer to why black people been shut out. But that's the hard push. I'm talking about back initially.
But you know, right. But basically, with his history, it gets to the point. I mean, and this is more or less like a statement. So it's really not surprising that he did it, that it turned down. And then again, it's not even surprising that White Capital would choose somebody like him.
Yeah. Caller, look, let me get through this because I got a lot of show to get through. Thank you so much for making that come. Thank you for calling. 310-388-3499 if you want to call in. Please call in from a number, not anonymous. Look, we getting through this show. There's a lot more to get through. But to me, in my opinion, Revolt is basically a Flintstone car. Presented as a car. And then what's happening is that its model initially was to use the feet of other people to make the car go and look fast. So what did Revolt come from? It came from this Memorandum of Understanding. African American leadership organizations and Comcast, NBC, Universal announced Memorandum of Understanding in 2010. Shortly after Comcast announced its intention to acquire 51% of NBC Universal, our chairman, Brian Roberts, and EVP David Cohen received a letter from National Action Network and President Al Sharpton, National Urban League CEO Mark Morial, and NAACP Ben Jealous requesting a meeting to discuss Comcast's continued commitment to diversity. So out of that, Al Sharpton got a TV show. In addition, all they got is a memorandum of understanding, which is not a contract. It's like this weak kind of understanding. And then I'll go into a second how the FCC said then they don't got to even follow that, meaning Comcast. They don't really got to follow that. So then even the stuff in the memorandum of understanding, which is pretty much like internships, some board meetings, an advisory council, and these two channels. And there's supposed to be more channels, and those didn't come in full. So Al Sharpton is affirmative action beneficiary of NBC Comcast merger. 8 months after Al Sharpton signed the pivotal agreement that helped Comcast and NBC secure federal FCC approval, because the FCC approval, that's the one that's what Clyburn approved, and it was because they did this little memorandum. It gave them a little, well, something was done, but we got them to say something. It wasn't nothing though. MSNBC appears poised to reward him with a primetime news show. Again, for those people that don't know, I believe NBC Universal that was bought by Comcast owns MSNBC. So we're gonna walk this down. We're gonna walk it all the way to Hillary Clinton in a hot sauce in her bag, saying it on a show with a Revolt mic. We're gonna walk this whole thing down. Good Lord, I got so much show, I can't even get it. Let me get to it. I don't want to give y'all all the show. He got him a show off this memorandum. While Sharpton is a soundbite success in entertaining TV guests, his 3 prior attempts at hosting a show have flopped badly, with the most recent, his ballyhooed Education Superhighway, dying after a single episode last fall. His anchor forays in 2004 and 2005 ended after 7 and 12 episodes respectively, while his 2004 presidential campaign was so widely seen as vacuous and uninformed that it earned him remarkably puny support, even among black voters. In fact, until recently, Sharpton has been a Fox favorite, schmoozing with Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity. Sharpton has a long and well-documented history of leveraging his civil rights for his own benefit. Grabbing a primetime anchor spot in exchange for cheerleading for a controversial merger would be the capper on that career. It's gone remarkably unnoticed that Sharpton was the first major black leader to endorse the Comcast merger, which met fierce resistance. But also, Diddy and Magic got networks. Magic and Diddy, backers of new networks on Comcast. So we got to know where Revolt comes from before we understand why it's a Flintstone car and how problematic it is a Flintstone car, because now it's all of our Flintstone car that we don't get nothing from. And like now we're going to celebrate because 50 Cent, the guy named Curtis, is going to try to buy it. Can we get to it? Y'all remember he was a background dancer for James Brown. But you don't have to take my word for it. This is the Memorandum of Understanding. This Memorandum of Understanding entered into on, and this is just a few sections. There are 14 pages you can go find out on the internet. It was signed by the COO of Comcast, David Cohen, the Chief Diversity Officer, signed by Ben Jealous. It was also signed by Sharpton and Morial. This nonsense Memorandum of Understanding, it's nonsense in my view. This Memorandum of Understanding entered into on the 13th day of December 2010 and made effective upon the closing of the joint venture between Comcast and NBC Universal, is made by and among Comcast, NBCU, and certain African-American leadership organizations, including the NAACP, the National Action Network, and the National Urban League. So they signed this thing. It led to a multi-billion-dollar merger, and we got some boot camps, some internships, and Diddy and Magic got 2 channels that are Flintstone cars, in my view. But we can go to page 9 to understand what I'm asking today, even about the Flintstone car. Who owns it? Because we've been running around saying Diddy owns it. Diddy owns it. Is it 100%? Is it 55%? Or is it an unknown percent that might be as low as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%? Comcast has committed to at least 10 new independently owned and operated programming over the next 8 years. People need to go ask, did that happen? Comcast has enhanced this pledge by committing that at least 8 of those networks will be networks in which minorities, women are minorities, Asians are minorities, I believe Indians are minorities, which are part of Asian. Hold on. I'm not talking about Native Americans, I mean Southeast Asian Indians. So minorities have substantial participation. So we got a document signed by the NAACP, Urban League, and National Action Networks that is getting gains for minorities, in which minorities have substantial participation. Substantial. Look, 100%, majority have 2 specific meanings, above 51 or 100. Substantial, it don't mean nothing unless you have a definitions term. And this document, from what I reviewed, it didn't have a definitions term. Substantial means anything you can say. 4 of the new networks will be linear video programming services in which African Americans have a majority, or substantial ownership interest with at least 2 of those services to be added in the first 2 years following closing of this transaction. Those are the 2 we see with Magic and Diddy. So majority or substantial. I don't even understand how you let this document, even that it's just a memorandum of understanding, it isn't even a contract that's binding, but how do you even sign this? Because majority or substantial? No, you make it say majority or whole. Majority or substantial means it can be less than 51 and we fill the requirement, but then we can still run around and say black owned. So my question to you is this right here. Who owned the Flintstone car? So we already establishing why it's a Flintstone car. It's not a real car. It's not a real whole channel in my view. But what we're also asking is who owns it, because it's been paraded around as black owned once in a while, but most of the stuff just says founded by Diddy. I want to talk today. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how you doing, Antonio? It's good to be on. My name is Sterling. I'm coming in from Houston, Texas.
Hey, Sterling, let me say one last thing to the audience about substantial. So I found this interesting image about substantial, and it gives some framing because that's such a what a lot of the contracts do to deal with substantial. They have a definition of substantial in the contract to give a range. Substantial and substantially, maybe substantial and substantially refer to the magnitude that's close enough to the maximum that a reasonable person in the position of whoever. Okay, so it's real generic. But I found the IRS use of substantial where they actually had a term next to substantial to tell us what it was. The understatement is substantial if it is more than the larger of 10% of the correct tax or $5,000. So if you don't have like specifics, you ain't telling us much of nothing. So we don't even know what his substantial or Magic substantial ownership is, but it's a channel that came out of black people. And even if they do own it, what does that do for us? Give me your take on everything.
I mean, it does absolutely nothing. One of the things, that you pointed out from the show, and I've actually been following you. My friend put me onto you an event about 5 years ago. And, I used to believe in that, the whole do for self culture. And, I'm looking at people like Jay-Z and Diddy like, Diddy got Ciroc. And then I realized after listening to you guys, he was just a face. Or Jay-Z owns the Nets. And then come to find out what my friend told me, and I listened to you guys, he only owned less than 1%. And then even when I tried to look up how much specifically that was, I could barely find anything. I think what I found is that maybe out of that 1%, he probably only owned like maybe 1/15 of that 1%.
I agree, caller. Give me your last take on it because I got a lot to get through. What is your? I mean, is this a Flintstone car?
Yeah, my thing is that we gotta wake up, man, and we gotta let the 90s go. We can't let these people be speaking for us and thinking that's a win when they're making big moves. When at the end of the day, like how you and Yvette said, they said that's their money, that's our money. We gotta wake up.
Yeah, he didn't
they're just a distraction.
Thank you so much. Yeah, he didn't get this out the mud. So this was actually a creation out of supposedly general body black politics given to one man. Then he goes outside and kicks the tires, and the whole shit falls apart. And ding, 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 ding. That's all we heard. Lord, he said it right here. Let's look at this thing. Who really owns Ciroc? We went through that. So we go back to Ciroc, and they had him in front of the podium with all the liquor bottles behind him. And we've already talked about selling liquor to black folks. Describing his ambassadorship of the brand, Combs sometimes jokingly refers to himself as Ciroc Obama. Combs' brand evangelism improves sales substantially. Brand evangelism. Diageo under fire for 1,700 deceptive Ciroc ads. A complaint has been filed against Diageo alleging more than 1,700 alcohol ads for Ciroc were posted on Instagram by influencers who failed to openly disclose their connection to the brand. So this is built into this whole thing. When we look up on Wikipedia, Revolt TV station, the page is so sparse. The page is so empty. It reads like a business that maybe was about to be open or opened a month ago, in my view. Go read for yourself. Go to Revolt Wikipedia and then go to MTV Wikipedia and just compare the depth of conversation about history and everything else. There's not much there at all. But one thing that is there, it says Revolt is an American music-oriented digital cable television network founded by Sean Combs and Andy Schuon. Revolt is an American music-oriented digital cable television network founded by Sean Combs and Andy Schuon that launched on October 2013. So we never hear about Andy, but it also doesn't say owned, it says founded. Hold on. We never hear about Andy, but it also doesn't say owned, it says founded. And I come back to the question of who owns the Flintstone card. And it says owned by Revolt Media and TV. Black America should have been demanded, because this came out of Black politics, to specifically have access to the private holdings of the ownership of this Revolt Media. But because of this MOU and people looking out for themselves, we don't have no answers. Catching up with Andy Schuon. Schuon is the co-founder and president of Revolt TV, a music channel that's geared to young people and has videos, news, live TV. So we never hear about Andy. We also never hear about founded. We just hear Black owned every once in a while, but most of it is founded. I found a treatise, or a paper, I should say, that kind of frames what I'm trying to explain to you in a little bit more ways. I want to make sure that I'm clear as I read this, that I've interviewed Byron Allen. I've talked to Byron Allen a lot. You know. I mean, when I say a lot. And myself and Yvette Carnell, and I'm not saying this to advocate for Byron as much as the 1866 Civil Rights Law. A lot of people just didn't understand. We're going to talk about it right now. We put 600 people on the steps of the Supreme Court in support of rights for you. So this discussion is part of that. So we're not just I'm not having a random conversation. I'm having an actual conversation where, when politics was to be done, there were people on YouTube that blocked it, and then there was a greater, I believe, greater national movement by, I feel like, elite to suppress this discussion. And as a result, you just didn't get no politics. You got them channels. Now, in addition, the day before, on November 12, 2019, the NAACP was on the steps to support DACA. And then they left, and I'm not going to say on purpose, but they could have just stayed one extra day. None of them were there for the actual Civil Rights Act of 1866. The NAACP had left the steps. So I don't know if that's on purpose, but how do you not come to support your own civil rights, but you're there for DACA the day before? So without ADOS, there would have been nobody really out there. It'd have been so sparse. It'd been Byron walking out by himself. For the Civil Rights Act of 1866, that I'll explain in a second, for all Blacks in America, and for the legacy of the slave that was shut out of America. And so when we're having this discussion, please understand the level, because it's levels to this. And meet me there at the top of the mountain, not at the bottom. I want to have this discussion today. 310-388-3499. Please support the channel so I can bring these discussions. Your support, pay for cameras and all kind of administrative costs that I have for this show. So let's read some of this paper, but you go Google it and find it for yourself and read the whole thing. African Americans have been systemically disenfranchised for nearly all sectors of American society since the country's founding. As such, African Americans do not just perceive the problem of racial discrimination as a matter of personal prejudice, but also a matter of survival. Without access to fundamental resources like higher education, healthcare, and economic opportunity, the quality of Black life decreases astronomically. We've been talking about that for years. Comcast also submitted to the FCC further proof of its commitment to diversity with regard to African Americans in the form of a Memorandum of Understanding. What is that? That's this thing. Oh, sorry. This one. Right here. This memorandum. The one that I said about internships and boot camps and a couple jobs. And then these 2 channels that got them through for this merger. Between itself and National Association of Advancement of Colored People, the National Urban League, and the National Action Network, which contain additional race quota-based commitments. But hold on, listen to the rest of this. In granting the merger license, the FCC failed to adopt Comcast race quotas out of fear of running afoul of the Constitution and FCC precedent. So we do the memorandum. Diddy and Byron get a channel. Now understand that there would have been congressmen that were going to oppose this thing, and other actors that were going to oppose this thing. It gets them through, but then the FCC allows them not to even follow the weak memorandum. So it's just Diddy and Magic, and then maybe we get an internship. The FCC described the race quotas, and Sharpton got a show. I forgot that. Sharpton got a show, so he got to be on TV finally and make himself this caricature that runs around. So I'm just laying out the truth of what all went down here, because maybe you guys don't know, because you should know. The FCC described the race quotas and other provisions within the diversity MOUs as a merely private agreement meant only to appease the commenters who were concerned about the treatment of minority and other groups by Comcast and NBCU. Yet the FCC still relied on these agreements as enhancements to the conditions it would impose on Comcast merger license, and commended Comcast for meeting with a broad range of stakeholders. So we're supposed to think that this is a contract, but it's just basically a testimony, this MOU. It's like a testimony. I testified that you're going to possibly do something for me maybe in the future. But as long as you take care of Diddy and Magic getting Flintstone cards, we good. And commended Comcast for meeting with a broad range of stakeholders and effectuating agreements that would further mitigate the potential public interest harm. Without government oversight and enforcement, however, the private diversity commitments proved less effective in dealing with racial inequities than the FCC anticipated. In February of 2015, less than 5 years after the merger, Byron Allen's organization, Entertainment Studios Network, and the National Association of American-Owned Media filed a federal race discrimination suit. Let me take this caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Oh, yes. It's Sandra calling again from South Carolina.
Let me finish this section. I'm going to come right to you.
Absolutely.
Nevertheless, determined Black entrepreneurs will continue to fight to expand opportunities for Black people. One such entrepreneur is Media Moga Byron Allen, whose most recent fight took him all the way to the Supreme Court. And that's what I was referring to you earlier. Again, we had 700 people out there. I don't know who, I know the NAACP had left. I didn't see no Urban League. I didn't see no National Action Network, but they there to do a memorandum for y'all that don't get nothing but like 2 channels, and then nobody really even follow it. Hold on. Comcast and NBC Universal citing Comcast's failure to carry independent 100% African-American owned programming on equal tiers to other similar channels. He claimed that the merger would give Comcast and NBCU the ability and incentive to discriminate against new independent programming networks to restrain competition to the detriment of viewers. As a remedy, he requested the FCC either deny the application entirely or condition the merger of Comcast's commitment to set aside channels for independently owned African-American programming. Because the FCC is limited by the Fifth Amendment precedent when using race-based affirmative action policy, the agency was largely left issues of racial inequity to be resolved by racial minorities themselves. So, I don't know how that worked when we shut out. All I know in the end is this whole thing ain't 100% owned, and I don't even know when you say substantial if it's 5 or 10%. Who owns the Flintstone card? Give me your take on everything, caller.
Oh, yes. So I did write down like a few thoughts. But one of the things I noticed the most on a lot with women, like let's say you're dating, you'll meet a lot of men all the time that claim they're a rapper, a musician, or artist. And the level of delusion is really bad because the type of money you would need to really live the lifestyle they claim they live would be astronomical. These people usually don't have a good job, don't have college education, but they'll be talking to you like you should just trust them. They have a whole plan, they have a whole future. And then when you try to tell them like, so you see all the things that's going on in Diddy, right? You see everything in Hollywood. What makes you think when you get in, you won't have to deal with the same issues? Oh no, I'm gonna be independent. So I'm like, now you're gonna be independent? So where are you getting all the rest of the money from? Well, I heard, I went online, I watched a YouTube video, I'm gonna be able to do this. And it's just like, it's really concerning to me because it's usually Black people that think they can circumvent the system. Like, I'm going to be the one that's chosen. And they don't look into the companies. Like, they don't look into Diddy's company. Does he really own it? Are there any ethics issues? Like, it seems like you're the only one looking into it. And then even if you tell them he doesn't really own the company, they still don't believe it. Like, you're hating on Diddy. You're hating on Black people. And I'm like, but we don't have anything. That's all I'm saying.
And also, I would go even to add to that. I'm not even gonna say a step further. I'm just giving you the facts about the Memorandum of Understanding. He didn't get this out the mud, so he didn't go in with the money from Bad Boy. That we could talk about where he got it from, the artist, and then negotiate to buy a channel. No, there was a lawsuit saying that we're being mistreated in the way that we're able to do business. That was about to change the dynamic of the way Black people can make demands to become producers. And they said, what we're going to do with Sharpton and the NAACP is a memorandum of understanding, and then we're going to give Diddy and Magic a channel, and then we can point to that so that when the lawsuit actually makes it to the front of justices, we can say, well, we not racist. We got Black people with channels, but they not really channels because we'll talk about in a second, ain't got no doors, ain't got no roof. And the people that don't know how to review it. Let me say something else. So Diddy and Magic play basketball. We got to start. This is the problem with like not wanting to talk about education and expertise. Magic played basketball. I want to hear nothing about. You can talk all that stuff about after the fact and everything. Until I want to see him in the back frying up some shit at Fridays before you tell me he understand a restaurant. I want to see that. I'm saying to you that Diddy ran this little thing where he this little Bad Boy. He don't print the CDs though. He don't do the how many are going to each store. He just do the branding for the artist part. That's not the CD distribution and the marketing of that and how you get certain networks to cover. That wasn't his job. His job was the Ciroc part. It was just like the Ciroc stuff. But you guys needed a hero. So you made a hero out of peanuts. Peanuts and cotton candy. Go ahead.
Yes. And something that you mentioned made me think too, because you're absolutely right. It's the same thing how these companies do. So it'll be a company like Versace, right? They do something to offend the Black community. And then what they do is whoever was the head, they so-called step down. And then people, they won't support Versace anymore. But then when you really look up the business dealings, it's a whole bunch of other designer brands that you use that are really Versace too. They all are for the same company. So when you're not supporting one, but then you go support the other, you're still supporting the same. They do that all the time. Just like with Amazon. Jeff Bezos was getting in trouble for stealing. He wasn't stealing, but the company, it was alleged that they had been stealing the employee tips. They weren't paying all the money. They were doing a lot of things like that. So then so-called Jeff Bezos stepped down. He didn't step down. Anytime a company has these ethics issues, they could even be owned by a family. So one of the family is the issue. You think the family is going to let them step down? It's their family.
Well, that's the same argument I have with this whole insurance thing that everybody running around like they goddamn expert. Is you ain't at the company. This man stepped down really fast if it's his own thing. He should have fought tooth and nail. He did it because of insurance. I'm gonna let you go, Colin.
Oh, he should have been screaming.
Yeah.
It's my business, But
Thank you so much. Thank you. I got to get going because I still got a lot to get through. I'm sorry, but this show has got to be thorough, and we got to talk about everything that I have on deck because it all is important. Again, Andy Schumann is the other founder, but then we don't see no ownership percentage or nothing, and it's just substantial. And substantial could be 10%, 5%. There's a reason that you have majority or substantial. It's less than that. It's less than that, and they can fulfill this requirement, which ain't even a real requirement because the FCC said they don't even have to follow that. So what are we looking at? Who owns the Flintstone car? Lord. Who got this box on the desk with Diddy and Revolt on their desk in America? Somebody got this box with Diddy and Revolt on their desk, and when that sexual harassment suit happened, they opened up and pulled him right on out and said, we gonna just sell the car. We gonna sell the car to them. They don't know the difference. The Flintmobile. To give you context of the difference when stories are about 100% owned, and this is not, again, to praise Byron, it's just context for a metric. So when Byron Allen acquired the Weather Channel, there's only, and I'm telling you this because this is what I was told by him, there's 4 news networks. There's CNN, MSNBC, Fox. Those are the major news networks, cable news networks. And then there's the Weather Channel, the 4th one. And that 4th one, for the first time ever, is owned by a black man by himself. But understand that the articles actually say 100% black owned, 100%. And then there's another thing called subscriber fees. And I believe that because this channel came out of that Memorandum of Understanding, you guys have every right to ask him, what are the subscriber fees, if any, to Revolt? And if it is 0, that means that is not a channel. The subscriber fees are like basically, let's say there's 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 25 million people watching your channel. You know that you're going to get this amount, so you can multiply that by the subscribers and basically then go get loans against it or anything. That's actually an asset. But when you don't have 0, do you even have a channel? You can't get no loan. What's the worth? I know the Weather Channel has $5.50. You can multiply that by 60, 70 million viewers. You got that. You got a channel. You don't have this. Or driving that shit on the street. But you don't have to take my word for it. You can listen to this. So we go back, and the context of why I'm bringing up Magic is him and Diddy were the 2 that got the channels out of the memorandum. Magic and Diddy among backers of new networks. So the 2 that came out of the memorandum, the two of those services to be added in the first 2 years are the Magic and Diddy channels. Now hold on, listen to this. News One does an article in 2013 that far too many people didn't want to cover because it tells us what they found as the backstory. And it's an opinion piece, but it was in News One. Did Magic Johnson sell out black business for profit? Question mark. Mr. Johnson brokers a contract for the purchase of a new network based upon it being a black-owned and operated network. He acquired government monies, major advertising, and promoted it to the public as such, when in truth it is not. It is ran by its competitor, GMC TV and GMC TV executives. We have every right to demand the answer of whether that's true or not. You got the network out of black politics, like, you didn't get out the mud. So was it run by GMC TV and GMC TV executives, which are all white? Mr. Johnson which means it was not even like a black channel. It was just presented as that to avoid black people making demands, which are all white. Mr. Johnson made no attempt to even entertain procuring black business to work with him, manage, or even participate with him in this endeavor. He had advertised this deal as change, and now we, the public, are asking him to live up to his promise. So again, this is on News One. And how would he know how to run a channel anyway? Just like how he gonna know how to run a restaurant. Did Magic Johnson really sell out black business? Let's take a look. A short time ago, a deal came on the table for Comcast to buy NBC. California State Representative Maxine Waters stepped in and made sure the deal would not go through unless Comcast gave minorities the opportunity to develop minority networks. Hence the Memorandum of Understanding. So without that MOU that the FCC, after the fact, says they don't even have to follow, Maxine Waters doesn't have the clear to say it's okay and has to block this thing, and it never happens. Multi-billion-dollar business was done on the backs of a faux black deal. Please support the channel. Cash App Tone Talks. If you want me to keep coming, keep supporting. I'm just telling you the truth today. With this on the table, it opened the doors to broadcasting opportunities for minorities that had not been there before. Magic Johnson stepped in and brokered the deal, making a big announcement that he created a black network, calling it Aspire TV. The possibilities for minorities in broadcasting was given a huge shot in the arm, thinking that Magic Johnson was actually going to lay out a network that allowed for more minority shows. Minority. But this is the African-American Memorandum of Understanding and the African-American Congresswoman, meaning ADOS, and an ADOS black Magic Johnson. What are we talking about? Magic Johnson inked the deal and promptly turned over all managerial control to GMC TV in Atlanta, GA, a 100% white-owned company and virtually a direct competitor to Aspire TV. Again, this is not my view. This is from News One, an opinion piece that they put up on in 2013. This is after running all over the place, telling everyone this is a black network, and he was going to change black TV. But this raises the question, is it really a black network, and has it changed anything? Let's take a deeper look into the question. GMC, a direct competitor, and now the new management for Aspire TV, and this is in 2013. I don't know if it's changed since then. There's no information given to us about specifics. TV did not go out and try to get top talent or even attempt to acquire people who had previously experienced in the key roles. This is what GMC did, move qualified, unqualified people over to fill critical roles called the director of programming and general manager, but these people cannot make final decisions. All final decisions are made by GMC executive management, and they are all white. So, Lord. So what is a channel? Like we talked about the banana earlier, stuff inside. What is a channel? A channel is not the skin. It's not the skin. It's the stuff inside the banana. It's the carriage fees. It's the guaranteed subscribers. It's the cities they put you in. So ESPN has the most lucrative deal. You've probably heard about it. That's why they can pay Stephen A. Smith the way they pay him. Is when you get cable, Spectrum TV, you got to pay about $7 to $10 to ESPN, guaranteed whether you watch it or not. Part of the reason that the packages are so expensive are these carriage fees. But then the network then can take that as an asset because it's guaranteed to be coming in and use that as an asset for different reasons, to make content, to pay people like Stephen A. Well, what if you don't get none of that? Do you still have a channel? With an average estimated carriage fee of $9.42 per month, ESPN this year is on track to generate $8.1 billion in affiliated revenue. What is the fee for carriage? Fee for carriage would be a tax on their subscription fees, forcing subscribers to pay a monthly charge for stations that will continue to be freely available via the public airwaves, i.e. antenna reception. The true cost to consumers of top TV channels, TV's top channels, ESPN, $7.64, TNT is $2.20, NFL Network is $1.79, Fox News Channels is $1.72, USA Today is $1.65, CBS is $1.59. I don't see Revolt. AMC is 51 cents, MTV is 54 cents. I don't see Revolt. But Revolt is doing some kind of free model. So I'm wondering, and you guys should go ask, are you guys a channel with limited cities? And I know they gave you a few more, and then no fees. Then how are you a channel? It would explain why we don't see no content on your channel. But Breakfast Club and with Drink Champs, and then they had Joe Budden on there a while ago. So it's a 3-card Monty going on. So Diddy out here with a channel. They told him he had a channel. He went out to the car like this. He went out to clean one of these like that. Good God. So he went out to, we gonna give you a channel, go on out there and clean it up. He out there flipping and falling. But it's genius by 50 Cent to want to become the dude that do this. What are carriage fees? Does every TV network receive the same carriage fees? Nope. Carriage fees are negotiated on an individual basis between TV providers and TV network owners. The amounts are generally based on how valuable a TV network is to pay TV provide i.e. how likely is it that carrying a given network will help the pay TV provider to attract and retain subscribers? You can think of these negotiations as akin to sports teams negotiating with athletes. The top players receive the top contracts. All right. So how much carriage fee do you think they gave a Flintstone car? How much do pay TV providers pay, meaning Spectrum, to carry a TV network? It ranges from less than $1 per subscriber up to $7.64 owned ESPN. I don't see Revolt. I don't see Aspire on this. So is it a channel or a Flintstone car? Sean Combs, Revolt TV having trouble increasing viewership 2014. Cable channels typically cost around $100 million to get launched without additional carriage. Revolt TV is finding it challenging to bring in a wider swath of advertisers. Like most startups, you have challenges of growing the business. CEO Keith Clinkscales said in an interview on Thursday, Comcast and Time Warner proposed merger is putting a chill on the growth plans of Sean Diddy Combs' Revolt TV. The Post has learned the music channel, which will celebrate the first year in operation next month, is having trouble expanding its reach beyond its original 25 million households because the consolidation cable industry has made it a lot harder. The lack of growth for Revolt in a severe cash crunch, several TV industry executives told the Post. The good news is that we had deals in place with Comcast and Time Warner, Clinkscale says. They have been excellent partners. However, the merger discussions caused the whole industry to slow down. There's a general wait and see on a lot of things. Where's Diddy talking, though? Remember what we read about Magic? It's Clinkscales. We have talks. We are a growing network and independent, and it's prudent to look for sources of funding and content development. We're making sure to find the best ways to optimize what we have. Okay. So that's what we ended up with. We ended up with Breakfast Club on Revolt. We're going to build it out like Legos. And we ended up with Joe Budden on Revolt. All right. But we also ended up with a body of politics that was not allowed to grow because it was suffocated by people put on his channel that was given to Diddy by Comcast, and then we're not sure if he owned it. That, and they then were allowed to talk to politicians on our behalf, even if they're a high school dropout with a GED and 1 unit of U.S. history. And it came out of the Memorandum of Understanding, and we don't know, we don't have no paperwork on the thing. But then you wearing a shirt with Hillary Clinton on it. But when she says the hot sauce in her bag, I want you to understand and pay attention, boom. What mic is she talking into? So when Hillary Clinton says, I roll with hot sauce in my bag, she is talking into what mic? Revolt. That came out of the Comcast Memorandum of Understanding. So then you got to question how they got here. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, how you doing? Paul from New York City. How you doing, Tom?
Give me your take on this.
So, I definitely 100% appreciate you. And I'll just jot my bullet points real quick and we'll turn off air. So when Al Sharpton out here in New York was protesting and doing this stuff, I remember that specific thing. It was almost like, if I remember correctly, almost like someone told him, hey, listen, you gotta stop hustling that way. Lose some weight, get the gastric bypass on the suit, and then let them prop you up in the front as the new person on the network. And it seemed real funny. And now fast forward to breaking it down in detail, what happened behind the scenes. Worked for the cable company, all the stuff you're talking about how much it costs to have a particular network, what the numbers are, having that leverage to go get a loan, 100%. The cable is 100%. That's how we used to negotiate and have certain channels on or off when they with the networks. And when it comes to the things that Byron Allen said, black owned and black promoted. I mean, that's the difference when he said that. It makes you think. We're just good marketers. We don't really own anything. They just put us at the face of XYZ and behind the scenes someone owns it. Reminds me of the schools that these black athletes in the team and say, oh, we own the school. Did they really own the school? Did they really open up the school? And you look at the people that are on the board, do they have a particular curriculum? And it's like almost a facade that they're tricking us. And the way that you break it down to
What do you think? What do you think about the way that they're presenting this as black owned, but then the contract, which is not really it's more of a memorandum of understanding. Like a contract is binding. This is less binding because the FCC said they don't really have to follow it no way, and it's more like a testimony, like we did for the OMB, the Office of Managed Budget for the census. So, but what do you think about it saying substantial, and then them running around talking about black owned, and then if the News One is crew, then the Magic Station run by white people, then I'm just overall I'm just trying to understand what you think about this whole thing.
It's a facade. It's a whole facade to get the black community behind something that's not even real. You know, it's just a whole set of facade, similar to how how Jay, the brand behind the Barclays Center, was going to be owned 0.5%, 1%, and that whole gentrification project launched because they had Jay-Z at the face that they think they were going to provide jobs when they were doing X amount of part-time jobs, which didn't get people out of poverty. They still qualified for Medicaid, social services, and it's just another way of, tricking us out of our bag or tricking us out of really getting ownership.
Yeah, and this news, like this News One article is, in my opinion, it's actually someone else's opinion piece on News One in 2013 that I pulled up, and it basically says that Magic didn't run the station, GMC TV. What's the point of having Magic Station if his rival is going to run the station that's white owned? And then the station ends up being the reason we can't make demands in court. In part, go ahead.
Right. Well, and it's once again, it's controlling, it's putting Magic at the face, getting our information in certain stations in a claimed position when there's really no position at the back end. They take all of our intellectual property and kick Magic out.
Can I ask you one other question? What do you think about the through line all the way to the Hillary Clinton and the hot sauce in her bag? Because I know a lot of y'all wondered where these people came from, like in terms of, you don't think that these interviews are possibly tied into that eco structure of this whole thing? And it's like, then it's like, why were they interviewing the politicians? I mean, like, I understand the rappers. I mean, by what expertise? Go ahead.
Listen, and sometimes I look at them like, why are you saying that? And if you really think about it, you have people that are intellectual, capable of interviewing the politicians, and then just cater to it. Oh, keep happening. What does that have to do with anything? What about policy? What about certain questions that should have been asked? All that is a setup. Okay, listen, we can only ask 10 questions.
And you remember that Charlemagne is the one that told us that Tommy Lauren, who's a far right person, you could never in your wildest dreams tell me to be friends with her. He was told by the network to be her friend, and he did do that. He went and did it. So I mean, I just don't understand. Caller, I'm gonna let you go because I want to get to the rest of the show. I thank you for calling in. Great set of callers today, but primarily this show is about questioning. Do y'all see the connections through it all? You got to make your own assessment. She says this into a Revolt mic. How did they get this interview? How did Diddy get this channel? Is it a channel or a Flintstone car? Seemed like more of a Flintstone. Who owns the Flintstone car? But we do know this, that a few years ago, they got accused of racism against black folks, meaning Revolt, the station that came out of the Memorandum of Understanding, got accused because they had an Indian woman, I believe she's Indian, Roma Khanna, who was racist against black folks in statements as accused by certain employees. This is in page 6. The ex-employee wrote to Revolt's board from a place of genuine concern on behalf of myself as a young, educated black woman for the people currently employed at Revolt who are fearful of losing their job in an attempt to preserve the reputation and perception of this company. Talking about Roma Khanna, in a bombshell letter, she alleged, I've witnessed Roma say that black women intimidate her, and that at a May brainstorming session for the Revolt Music Conference, when it was suggested that rapper Meek Mill host a talk on prison reform, Roma responded, maybe the conversation isn't about prison reform, maybe it's about how to stay out of jail, black boy. All right. All right. Do we gotta go back? I'm just going through this thing so that we can lay this thing out, because people said genius, and I saw a Flintstone car. So I just wanted to show you I don't need 50 Cent running nothing for me that has anything near politics. I don't need Diddy ever talking for this race again, because what he's done to me is unforgivable in taking this channel that was a Flintstone car and then parading it around as black ownership, and we still deserve to own, to know and see documents. How much have you owned? When did you own it? Because that's how you got the channel. You got the channel through black folks, not through the mud, in my view. Great call, Antonio. 50 Cent gets paraded around as a genius of business, but I don't see it. He banters and picks on people. Virtually, maybe it's me. I don't get it. Yeah, me neither. But the way that they cover up this lack of wealth is this 3-card Monty. Otherwise, because this little uptick for blacks, that's primarily boomers that'll pass on. That's their house and their pension. We've already looked at the breakdown. You as working age black folks are largely wealthless. You're in these families and can't afford them. You don't know what affording is because all of you have made a subtle sub-American agreement because you're not paying for the life insurance policy, which is $1 million when you got a kid and two kids and a wife. You're saying I'm going to do insurance this month, maybe not next month. You're saying that I don't have no college savings, and you know the kid needs college savings. They're not going to go to college. They're going to be a trades worker instead. What trade? And when we going to start that? You're just saying stuff. You know? And the reason you keep saying stuff is you don't know the gravity of it all. Because the sales pitch was this. Diddy predicts Revolt TV will be the next ESPN. And you don't even understand how absolutely asinine that was to say that. We're talking about ESPN will generate $7 billion in such fees, talking about the carriage fees and profits, according to SNL. The second largest generator of fees is Time Warner TNT, which is expected to earn $1.71 billion. They didn't give you that. Wait, hold on. What are you saying, Tone? How do you know? ESPN, the most profitable network in the country, will earn $9 billion in operating revenue in 2014, according to estimates from research service SNL Financial. Revolt TV is expected to generate $23 million in operating revenue. But yet this man went on this CNBC and said this in a proclamation, and y'all didn't know the difference because Revolt and ESPN both had letters in them. Black aspiration, the decadent veil, on full display. Thank you so much, Final King. I wanted to have this discussion today because black excellence led to the collapse of black politics, in my view. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling out of Philly, man. I feel what they told.
Let me bring you in 1 second. Hold on. Are we in a Flintstone car with Diddy? From our families to our whole, we need a black farm to the Diddy car to the Revolt. Is this us right here? Hold on. We the damn dinosaur in the back letting Diddy. Is that us? Or is this
Dino.
We Dino in the back? Go ahead.
Let's remind me of how there will be a contract for a minority-owned business, right? Like the government sets aside contract for a minority-owned business. And a regular business will bring on, they might contract through a minority company, pay that minority company maybe just to use their name on the application. So that's what this sort of is like. It's like, okay, and you got to give a channel to a cool black person, right? And what they do is they don't give the actual channel to the black. The company will give paid and listen, we're going to give you
2%,
2% ownership,
5%, substantial,
black channel,
substantial.
Okay, just a pittance.
And then let me say something else that happens. Also, black is so generic, because I believe now after the Indian woman's things, the whole racism accusation, they went out and hired a guy, but he's Jamaican. I don't have no problems with Jamaicans, but I don't know, man. I'm just saying, but they don't really they just say black. So he's a Jamaican. I read it in a Caribbean Weekly, and he running the channel now, and it was all in response to me, in my view, to this. And so, and it's still missing all the components of a channel in my view. Go ahead.
I think the only people that's not up on this hustle is us. I think everybody is up on the hustle. Even like the lineage between black and Adolf and Fulbright black, I think the only people that's not in on that hustle is us. I think I really believe that. I think that they're doing when they say, "Oh, we got to bring the black person to optics." I think they deliberately say, "Okay, we got to bring in the black person. We're not going to bring in the Adolf." You know, I think that we are that card. I think it's and again, I have a daughter, and I make tremendous sacrifices for her future. You know, 529, insurance, life insurance policy for her that maybe could go to her children in the future, so I have children in the future. But until we're willing to make those sacrifices and make an honest assessment of where we are,
but I mean, but how do you do that if you have somebody proclaiming that Revolt is gonna be the next ESPN? That's fucking stupid, man. To say out loud. It's fucking stupid. Like ESPN is like $8. It's the largest, and you're gonna say this out loud and scream it and think that, and because black people don't know any better. We go back to slavery. We go back to slavery, and we go back to Booker T. Washington. Not altogether a fan in every instance of what he said, but there's one particular instance where a lot of slaves couldn't read. So then, when freedom came, people were actually faking like what's in the Bible, but you couldn't tell what somebody else was saying because you couldn't read and they couldn't read. But like what we have here is like you have this whole gamesmanship around Diddy telling black folks what the inside of a banana looks like because they don't know what the inside of a banana looks like. They just know the outside.
Well, that is crazy. But what I was going to say is that we can't make that assessment as long as we have that decade exam. We can't make that assessment. We can't admit to being broke as long as we have people that can come up and say, "Yeah, we're not broke. We got $8 trillion of buying power. We're just not taking advantage of it."
But if the person come up to you in one of these in the Stone Mobile, can you actually then at least say he's not a genius? God damn it, 50 a genius. I mean, ain't no way in the world. I mean, I had the same thing with LeVar Ball. Y'all was like he can make a shoe. I don't believe that LeVar Ball can make a sandal. The man that I see with my own eyes. How do you not have those assessment skills? But that's for each their own. Caller, I'm gonna let you go. You was fired today. You always calling in support. I want to get to the end of this show. So it was a little longer. That's why I got going a little earlier. Let me keep going. I think I got one last caller I'm gonna take. But this is Diddy, them bringing in the Revolt shit. This is how they brought it in. And y'all believe that it was gonna get you to Vegas. Oh Lord. Oh, they done rolled it in. This is how they gonna do them when they take it back, though. When they take it back, they're gonna do it just like this when they take it back. They're gonna, is he finished fucking up? Let me clean it up. Oh man. Caller, you the last caller tonight. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Give the last caller tonight. What's your take on it?
I think that I'm surprised that people are still falling for that mess with Diddy. I mean, Diddy is just sad. I mean, he's a pitch man, and all the people he's pitching for, they fired him. That's all.
This is Juanita?
That's it. That's all.
Is it? No, Juanita, you ain't gonna do me like that at the end of the show. Is that you on Sunday? You ain't got no sweet potato over there? Hold on. Juanita, look, you gonna end it all right. You ain't gonna run off. Juanita, is this a Flintstone car? I done explained what a channel is. It got carriage fees, got certain cities. Is this a Flintstone car this man done rode around?
This is a Flintstone car trying to be driven by a double MC.
Oh Lord. Oh
Diddy
Lord.
don't even have the feet to get the car started.
Good Lord. He don't. So he got to use other people's feet. Hold on. Think about what you're saying right there. It goes back to what I said initially in the releases about what the show was. Let's go all the way back. What she's saying is what I told you. She said he don't have the feet, so he done stood up and he laughing. He gonna tell y'all, and so he gonna use your feet. Is P. Diddy's free content model for Revolt TV bad business? Juanita, you can. I'm gonna let you go on that note because you dropped it. He don't have the feet to get it go. Thank you, Juanita. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had let go. Juanita, thank you. He don't have the feet to let it go. So this is Tone Talks. Please go to tonetalks.net, subscribe, donate, and share. I wanted to have this discussion today about Diddy and this revolt and the extensions out of the arms of that. And more importantly, to ask you the question, is this a channel or is this a Flintstone car? Is this a car that can get us around the nation, or is it just the bones of a car, if that? How did we get here? Are we just riding along and we don't know what nothing is? A family, a farm, a car, nothing. We just look at the outside of everything. I hope not. I hope we're not rolling it in for him. He in the car. That's him inside. We rolling this out. That came out of a memorandum of understanding and never should have existed. Please subscribe, donate, and share. Let's have this discussion because everybody else is BSing. Thank you.